Thank you very much, everybody, for just spending a bit of time on your lunchtime today just to go through a bit of a market update from ourselves. And we've also invited Water Plus to come and join us to give an update on them. And they're one of our great suppliers on our framework. So, as I say, today, I've got myself and Michelle from CPC. We'll just do a bit of an introduction into CPC and Dukefield Energy. I'll give a quick market update. I'll try and keep it as light-hearted and as possible. Then a quick introduction to the framework that we're running, different contract options, our portal, and a question and answering session at the end. So, Michelle, do you want to just go through CPC and yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Nick. Hi, so I'm Michelle Newcombe. I'm the procurement manager at the CPC, and I'm the framework manager for the utilities framework. So just a bit of an introduction for those that might not know about the CPC. So we're a not-for-profit purchasing consortium, and we are owned by the education sector. So if you do use any of our frameworks, the surplus is reinvested back into the education sector. We offer free membership, so it is free to join, and we provide you with procurement advice, as well as we have 87 compliant frameworks that are on there. So there's details further along in terms of how to contact me if you have any queries about the utilities framework, but there's also a link to the website if you do need to become a member. You do need to be a member to access this particular framework as well. Thanks, Nick.
Perfect. Thanks very much, Michelle. So, just a quick introduction into Dukefield Energy as well. So gas, electricity and water contracts can be procured through our framework across a number of lots. Following a Public Contracts Regulation 2015 compliant tendering process, Dukefield Energy ourselves became the sole appointed consultant on the CPC framework at inception. So who are Dukefield Energy? We are a full service consultancy. So we will look after you from the very beginning, your initial questions and queries and bits and pieces, and help you through the whole tendering exercise to do with your utilities, whether it's gas, electricity or water. We'll get to learn anything about you as a customer and find out what your needs and wants are and everything. We'll build that tender around you and then go and get you prices from our multi-supplier frameworks. So it gives you lots of choice there and everything. If you then decide, and there is no obligation here, if you decide to use one of our suppliers on the framework, then we will look after you. Get given an account manager here at Dukefield Energy, and we will look after you through that whole contract period. So we'll do the query management, the bill validation. We will just look after you. So it'll be a whole full hand-holding service from start to finish. And then towards the end, we'll obviously look at the current market conditions and advise you when best to renew and do your next tendering exercise. We've got over 20 years of education sector experience and understand the energy issues faced by education establishments at the moment. It's been particularly volatile over the last few years, and we've managed to help a lot of people out and save as much money as possible. We are a safe pair of hands and a trusted partner for procuring gas and electricity contracts. And we've delivered CPC members a savings of over £3.5 million collectively on their gas and electricity water contracts over the last 3 years. So, current market conditions. As we all know, anybody obviously use it domestically as well. We all know that gas and electricity has been incredibly volatile over the last 18 months to 24 months. We've had COVID. We then had the war with Russia and Ukraine, and everything really came to a head at the end of the summer last year with huge spikes in the market. And we all saw prices rise 5-6 times more than they ever have done. I'm obviously pleased to say, as you can see from this grid graph, that things have started to come back down to some sort of normality. I say that with a bit of pinch of salt, that prices are still high at the moment. And we've even just seen the government actually announce that the price cap domestically is going to go back up again after Christmas, which is not good news. However, things have come back down a little bit in the markets. There has been some really good news stories since Christmas this year, and prices have fallen. They are still around 2 to 3 times more than what you have been used to be paying maybe 2 or 3 years ago. So we saw some highs in electricity around 80p last year per kilowatt hour. That is now back down to sort of 28 to 30p, give or take a bit at the moment. And similarly, gas, we saw some incredible highs around 17, 18p again last year. That is now back down to somewhere around sort of 5, 6, 7p along that, depending on where you are in the country. Obviously, we're all used to, let's just say, gas. We're used to paying 2.5p. So 6p is still incredibly expensive at the moment. So it is taken it with a bit of pinch of salt. However, there have been some good news stories and things are coming back down to some sort of normality. It could have been a lot worse last year. We had an unseasonably mild weather last winter, and EU gas demand fell by more than 60% in the winter months, mainly due to the mild temperatures that we saw completely across Europe last winter, but also because gas was so expensive last winter, everybody decided just to sort of effectively turn it off and not use as much as well. That had a knock-on effect into our storage levels last year. So we've got lots of on-sea storage facilities in the North Sea, and those levels were still very high throughout last winter, which was very good. It meant that prices didn't spike any further, and actually it's managed to help drive prices down right now. Storage levels are currently staying around 30% above their 5-year average, which meant we had far less injection during summer 23. And it's really helped out. Our storage facilities are as high as they ever have been at this point in time in the year. So again, we are protecting ourselves for this winter if we do have a cold snap. And sounding like the news, it does sound like this weekend we might start to see some rather chilly weather. So we'll keep an eye on that and see what that does with the markets. 14 LNG, so liquid nitrified gas cargoes have been scheduled in the UK in November. This is providing energy supply security. So again, we're still ensuring that those storage facilities are full up, and any excess is just injected straight into the grid. So it means, again, we're not calling on anywhere else and demand here in the UK. It means we're supplementing the grid really, really well for gas at the moment. So it is keeping prices at a sensible level. We have unfortunately seen the unrest in the Middle East between Israel and Palestine. So if you see on this graph, just towards the end here, just to where it says October, we started to see a bit of a spike there. We don't get any gas or electricity from that part of the world. It is just worldly events. The markets, because of the everything that we've seen over the last 18 months, it just makes the markets very nervous and very volatile. So anything that happens around the world, we do see that affect the market. So we're keeping a very close eye on that. At the moment, it hasn't affected it in a huge great deal, but if a larger player in that area decided, like Iran, started to get involved in a bigger way, we might start to see prices rise again. Iran has a lot of oil fields in that part of the world, so we're just keeping a very close eye on seeing what that does to the markets. But currently, things are still staying fairly stable. We've also seen Centrica sign a 15-year energy deal with America. That's really good news. It means we've got supply security coming across from America for the next 15 years. So again, I think it makes up about 3% of our total gas stack, what we call the stack here in the UK. So again, that helps. It's another good deal. And we're looking at trying to really pull away from being reliant on Europe and everything that happened in Russia last year as well. The EU are still looking to ban Russian LNG as soon as possible, which will increase competition from other European countries. So although we've cut all the pipelines from Russia for gas and oil, we still in Europe get a lot of LNG from Russia. So we're looking to make sure that that gets banned. But if we do ban that, obviously there's a lot more competition around the world and it can drive prices up. So again, we're keeping a very close eye on that. And there are a few concerns around French strikes and aging nuclear infrastructure. We saw during the summer there was a few issues with strike action over in France, and they are trying to upgrade a lot of their nuclear infrastructure. We have a very good deal with France where we got a lot of electricity through the Channel Tunnel, through a big interconnector, but we also export electricity through it as well. So it's a two-way process. So we're in desperate demand for electricity. We can get it from France and vice versa when they need it as well. However, they are doing a lot of upgrading on their local network, so we're not getting too much at the moment. But once that is upgraded, things will help again, and that will ensure the prices stay certainly level. So it's a little bit about the market and what's going on at the moment. Biggest piece of advice I can give everybody is don't leave signing contracts until the last minute. Get in contact with us and CPC. It just allows us to just see where the markets are at, get you some prices. We're certainly not going to push you to sign, but the most important thing is that If we start to see prices rise considerably, you're in a position where, you know, we've got your tender ready to go and we can get you prices. If one thing's taught me over the last 18 months is expect the unexpected. Things have been very volatile. So the more time you give everybody, the more time you give looking at your energy contracts, the better price you'll be able to get. That's the most important thing. So just onto our new framework. We've had, I say new, it's been out since about February this year. We've always had multi-supplier frameworks, and we've always had a number of lots, 1, 2, and 3. We've done that, and we've always done that, and it's worked very well. So that's gas, electricity, and water. However, there has been a large demand over the last few years for a lot more energy efficient solutions. We've got very hard sort of net zero and carbon neutral goals going to be coming from the government, particularly in education sector. So it's about having a compliant route to market for these bits of kit and these solutions, and ensure that we've got those available for you. So within our new framework, we've got a number of lots and multi-suppliers on these lots again to be able to give you the very best possible price and choices on all this. So I'll just quickly run through it. Energy efficient solutions. We're mainly talking around LED lighting here. LED lighting is one of those low-hanging fruit bits and pieces that actually doesn't cost the earth, but can make a huge difference for the amount you use on site. I think LED lighting can reduce your consumption for electricity by about 60% for lighting, which is huge. And they're not typically very expensive. They're one of those things that you can make a big difference to your site. So if you haven't done that yet, and you want us to have a look, then by all means, please get in touch. Lot 5, on-site generation. We're talking solar panels here. There's normally a couple of options. Put solar panels on and you use the electricity you generate from the sun just to supplement what you use on your site. So effectively, you just don't use as much, or you don't draw as much from the grid. You used to be able to export the electricity you use back to the grid, and you can still do that, but the grants and the actual price that you get for exporting it to the grid is nowhere near what it used to be. So you don't get quite as much money. So my advice would certainly be, if you want solar panels, you're looking at that, get it put in and then use it to supplement what you use in your use it on your sites, particularly with prices still very high. If you're able to generate your own electricity, then that's perfect. It's effectively, apart from the actual kit, it's free, which is really good. And then lot 6, we've got heat pumps. You can ground source heat pumps, air source heat pumps. These tend to be some of the last things you do at your site to really drive down the amount you're using to become carbon neutral. They can be very good bits of kit and are able to make quite a big difference to your site. They're not particularly the cheapest, but they can help you. You've done a lot around your site and you're looking for the next bit of kit that you can to reduce your consumption. These are certainly things that we can look into. As I say, ground source, air source, lots of different things that you can do there. And then finally, on lot 7, we've got the supplier metering services and building energy management software. So building energy management software, if you've done a lot to your site and you've replaced your lighting, you've got other bits and pieces, and you want to put that all together, this is a very sophisticated bit of kit that you can control everything pretty much from your smartphone sitting in your own home, and you'll be able to control your sites there. So you can turn the heating or the lights off at certain buildings. You can have things turn on at certain parts of your day. You're basically linking everything together and in full control of it all, and it makes makes everything as efficient as possible, basically. So if you've spent a lot of money and you've got a lot of bits of kit there, this all draws on everything and puts it all together. And we've got some great we've had some great supply on that as well. So contract options, just very quickly, we deal with lots of different contracts. We can do, I think we've got about 35 different options. So one of them are fully fixed. It's where everything on your energy is completely fully fixed there for your contract period. So that's the majority of our customers that look at that side of things. So our suppliers on gas and electricity are able to look at that. Energy only. So again, the energy costs are fully fixed, but you then can pass through all the non-energy costs of things like transportation charges and other bits and pieces there again. For the right type of customer, they can be very beneficial and it can make sure you save a bit of money there as well. But you do have to be aware that those, as well as decreasing, those can increase as well. And actually looking in the next couple of years, it does seem like those third-party charges are going to start increasing quite a bit. And then we have a number of customers on fully flexible. So it's where the energy is purchased in tranches throughout the contract term. We do that using our knowledge, and we look at the right strategy for you as a customer and buy the energy at the right time. So particularly in a drop-in market as we're seeing at the moment, what you can then do is, as the market drops off, you can buy certain amounts of energy there for that. But it just gives you a bit of an idea about the certain contract options. As I say, we have what we call brown gas and brown electricity, and then we have fully green as well. We have lots of different bits and pieces. So again, we build everything around you as a customer to ensure that you get the very best deals. And finally, any customers that we then have that sign with us, we can then link you into our portal, which gives all that information at your fingertips effectively. One of the biggest things over the next few years is going to be, reducing consumption and everything, and being able to do that and report that sort of data is going to be king. So it's going to be being able to keep a real close eye on everything and see where you use the most amount of things like electricity and bits and pieces. So we now have the facility for all our customers to access their own energy management reports and web-based platform. It's delivered by our partner Systems Link. So if anybody wants a little bit more information, please get in touch and we can go through that all with you. Got a little bit of contact information here for Michelle and myself. We will share these slides with you all, but if you need anything, just note this down. What I'm going to do in a second, I'm going to hand over to Anne from Water Plus, who's then just going to give you a little bit of overview of Water Plus, who are obviously on our water lot for our framework. And then we'll have some questions and bits and pieces at the end. So I will just stop sharing my screen. I'll hand over to Anne. Thank you, everybody. Anne, are you there? Do you want to share your screen? And
hi, everybody. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Awesome.
And I think I'm about to see you. Yes, and I can see your screen as well, so that's good.
You can
Brilliant.
see your screen too. Brilliant. So, hi, everybody. Next, just going through the framework before. We are in lot 3 in the framework for water and wastewater supply services. So just want to give you a quick feel for water. Everybody, understands gas and electricity, and it's quite established. Water is a relatively new area where the market's been opened. So as Nick says, we'll share these slides with you guys, and if you've got any questions, please feel free to let us know. It's just a very high level overview of water. It's a wee bit different to gas and electricity. So just a wee bit background on the water market. It did only open in April 2017, so as I say, relatively new. Water Plus was formed as a joint venture between 2 of the wholesalers, which is Severn Trent and United Utilities. All of the wholesalers had to separate out their retail wing from their wholesale wing. So ultimately, we are responsible for meter reading and billing the customers, as well as all of the other additional services that we can provide there as well. So at the minute, there's 17 retailers in the UK, and there's 17 self-suppliers. So there is the option for some of the bigger customers to take their own self-supply licence, which ultimately means they read their own meters and they deal with their own bills and pay the wholesaler direct. But for you guys, I think that the best option would be to go through a water retailer like Water Plus. So I'll go through this very quickly, and if you get any questions, just give me a shout. Just for anybody interested, SPID means supply point ID, which is the same as the MPAN in electricity. So it's just the thing that identifies all of the supplies within the UK for us. Okay, so just a quick bit about Water Plus itself. We, as I say, we're a joint venture between Severn Trent and United Utilities. We're the largest retailer in the UK, and we've got loads of different experts that we brought across from both of those businesses. So we didn't just create something brand new. We took all the expertise with us, and that still lives within Water Plus, and we've built on that over the years as well. Opening the market, the reasons for that was obviously to put the power in the customer's hands so that it gives them choice, it gives them the chance to save some money. We should then improve service, and also we can invest in innovation, and that's kind of what we're seeing happening in the market just now. So if you sign a contract with Water Plus, you'll save a wee bit of money, not a massive amount at the minute, because the margins are still quite slim within water, and they're still growing over the years. But what Nick was saying around, the gas and electricity and the buying at right times and contracting at right times and the volatility of that market, it's not the same for water. So water, the price is fixed annually, So you can basically budget for an entire year without worrying about prices going up, going down, unless your consumption changes. So once a year they'll review the prices, and for the first few years the change was in the region of 1 to 2%. Last year a wee bit higher, just because everything was more volatile, everything cost a bit more, and the increases went up by about 10%. But it's completely different for gas and electricity, and like, you know, you can budget for an entire year on your water when you choose to contract. With regards to Water Plus, we've got an awesome renewal rate with our customers. Once we sign customers up, they like us. When we do a good job, they choose to renew with us, and over 95% of our customers do that, and a lot of them decide just to sign up for several years. It saves them going through the tendering process on an annual basis. So we're really quite proud of that statistic, and we actually hope that that'll increase over the coming years as well. So you might be wondering what's our job, where do we fit in? So when the market opened, the wholesalers, they supply domestic premises and they bill the retailers. So we advocate on the customer's behalf between the wholesaler and you, with regards to anything that you need. If you need a new meter, if there's something gone wrong with your pipes, if there's a supply issue, any of those things we pick up with the wholesaler. The wholesaler bills us and we bill you, and that's basically how it works. So in Water Plus we've got loads of different teams that sit under. If you've got a key account manager, we've got the switching team, you would have your own billing advisor, we've got water efficiency experts and trade effluent experts within the team, and we've got an entire team dedicated to wholesale liaison, which is one of the most important things, to make sure that you're being heard and that we advocate on your behalf with the wholesaler. So if you contract with us, you'll almost always have a key account manager. If larger businesses do tend to have them. If they don't, then your key billing agent would be your single point of contact. But what this means here is, rather than getting umpteen bills for different wholesale to different retail areas, you would get one consolidated bill, one single point of contact, one person, one team to deal with, much less hassle. So there's a saving there to be had in resource with regards to the amount of time you might spend validating bills and paying them, and interfacing with different retailers to get to the wholesalers and all of those things. So your key account manager would have regular review meetings with you and look at your portfolio and help you understand that, and advise where there might be opportunities to save money, or to change how your charging is set up, and advocate with the wholesaler on your behalf to get those changes put in place. So just a couple more slides here with regards to the sort of specifics of, as I said earlier, you will save some money by contracting, no anywhere near as you would with gas and electricity, because the margins just aren't there at the minute. So what you do get is the opportunity to access some of our more expert teams who can help you to save money in other ways. Trade effluent, now, I don't know, with regards to you guys being in education, you may or may not have trade effluent. If you do, it'll be a massive big deal for you, but it can often be overlooked, and a lot of our peers within the business don't have the trade effluent expertise that we do to help with consent management and reviews, look at annual strength changes and sampling. Basically looking at your charges, are they correct? And a lot of the times when you've got trade effluent, is the biggest part of your bill. So if that is something that you do have within your building, then we're the people that can help you with that. But that's just very specific to trade effluent. Our other whole set of additional services covers all of these things here, from water auditing to contingency planning to new connections to emergency water supplies. Your key account manager or your key billing agent gives you access to all of these teams. Only the ones that, if you think, I've got a particular issue with this, but that bill's really high, do you think there might be a leak? We would then pinpoint the services that would work best for you. And this is where you can make potentially, 30% saving on your water bill. We have made up to like 35% saving on things like leak detection and repair, water efficiency measures within our customers. So that kind of makes up for the fact that you might only be making single digit savings if you sign a contract. That being said, with signing a contract, you'll make a bit of saving, but the main thing is that you get access to an entire team of experts, an entire team of services that you might never have known existed, but that can help you save money, meet your goals and targets. We'll sit down with you and chat around what's your sustainability goals, what targets have you got for this year, how can we help you to meet it from a water perspective, and I know that was a very, very quick tour of water. I don't know how fast I spoke, but I had 10 minutes. How was that,
That's
Nick?
great, Anne. Thank you very much. Right, has anybody got any questions for the guys at Water Plus or myself and Michelle on energy as well? If anybody's got any questions, please just put them in the question answering in the chat, and we will run through them. But at the moment, I don't believe.
Very quiet at the moment.
Somebody's time.
There we go. How is the billing done? Sorry, let me just open that up.
Are we talking? I think we're talking.
Is it estimated or actual
water?
readings? Is that on the waterfront?
I'm guessing it's water.
Oh, okay. So regards to billing, we will bill on actual reads where we have one and estimates in between. So depending on the size of the water meter, we are required to read the meters a minimum frequency. So for meters 80 millimeters and below, we read them twice a year, and above 80 millimeters, we read them monthly. And between times, it would be estimated and over the piece as we get more reads and the estimation logic becomes more accurate. If having an accurate and up-to-date bill is important to you, that's where you can look at installing loggers on the meters or limpet readers so that we can get a reading every single month and bill you to that meter read. In the same respect, a customer can provide their own reading, just phone us up, email us, stick it in the portal, and we'll bill you the read that you provide to us. So for some people, you know, having the reads on the money is absolutely important. Others are like, twice a year's fine. But again, it's that whole when you speak to a customer, find out what's important to them. Generally, we'll bill monthly. The frequency is always monthly, but you can choose whether you want a consolidated bill or a single site bill or potentially grouped bills. You know, if you want six grouped together here, there, and it depends on what your structure is. We'll work with you on the billing to come up with something that suits your needs. Hopefully that answers your question.
Thanks, Anne. Neat. Has anybody got any other questions at all? It's not normally this quiet.
Paulina's just typing who asked that original question. So we'll just see.
She's going to say, I wanted to know about energy billing, not water, isn't she? Shut up, Anne.
Just hold on for this question.
We're all
or if anyone else has anything else, as I say, just please pop it in the chat and we can answer it. Water, energy, procurement, whatever it might be. Okay, so Pauline is saying, is it possible to set up a higher frequency of actual meter readings being taken by Water Plus off another supplier as part of the framework? I'm asking because we've had a terrible problem with estimated readings in the past.
Yep. So when I said earlier, depending on the water meter size, we are required to take a minimum number of reads. So let's say you've got a 25 millimeter and we read it twice per year. If you want to have monthly meter reads, we will build that into the contract. There is a cost associated with that, but certainly we can do it. We can increase the number of, so it's like an additional service, but it gets bundled into your contract. It means you would have less of a saving than you had before, but you'll still see a saving and you'll get more meter reads. But in the same respect, Paulina, we would look at your portfolio, and if you've had issues with meter reads, we would potentially look at other solutions rather than somebody physically visiting on a monthly basis. Would we be better installing a logger, which reads every 15 minutes and uploads overnight, or would we be better installing a limpet reader that takes a picture of the meter once a day? And we would explore, or would we do physical monthly reads? We would explore those options with you to come up with the most cost-effective one for you. Because if analysis of your data is important, then then definitely you want to put a logger on there, because you get 15-minute reads, and you can do all sorts of analysis that way, and if it's to be provided to your superiors. But yeah, we would investigate what's the best solutions specifically to you.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, I'm just.
Paulina
said
says
thank
you.
Michelle, do you want to go?
Yeah, so Claire's asked a question as well. So she said, we don't have an account manager for Water Plus, but have 11 schools with you and only one elsewhere with Wave. How would we go about getting quotes for this other school?
Okay.
Also, we have a few water meters that are very difficult to read and don't appear to be getting their 6 monthly reads taken. How can this be addressed?
So for the first one, with regards to how do we get the one from Wave to Water Plus, so I would suggest bundling all 12 together and coming to Nick for a quote for a contract for all of them. Certainly we could look at that one school in isolation and give you a deal for that. But I'm thinking potentially at the minute that you are paying the maximum default tariff on the 11 schools that are with us already if you don't have a contract. And certainly we could look at the entire portfolio regards to saving across the portfolio. But if you just want to move that one from Wave across, then just give the details to Nick, and he'll come to us for a price for that. Jonathan, who's also on the call, who I completely forgot to introduce to you guys, as our bid manager. So he liaises with Nick on any bids or tenders that come across, and then I'll work with Jonathan to put the bid in. But it won't hurt you to send all 12 details into Nick and let us see what savings that we can make. And the next part of your question, we have a few meters, right, difficult to read. So if 11 of them are already with Water Plus, I should be able to get a feel for what the blockers are on reading them. It is the responsibility of the water retailer, which is Water Plus, to read the water meters. If those water meters are in difficult locations, in pits and flooded, or somebody's concreted over them, or so, we need to see what the blocker is. If it's somebody's concreted over them, if it's a customer, then we need to say to the customer, dig that out. If it's something where the meter's in an unsafe or unreadable location, we then need to liaise with the wholesaler on your behalf to get that meter moved, or potentially we can connect a remote reader to it so that the remote reader is accessible if the meter isn't. But again, we would look at them on a case-by-case basis to see what the issues are. And by the way, I mean, the ones that are with Water Plus just now, if you send them to me just now, I can have a wee look at any ones that are a particular bugbear for you, and see, I can liaise with our metering team just to see what's going on with them, because we're required to read them 6 monthly. If we don't, we do get fines in the market for not putting the meter reads in as well. So it's in our best interest to resolve an issue, whether it's something we're not doing right, something the wholesaler's not doing right, or something that we need to work with our customers to get right. Is that okay, Claire? So you're going to get in touch with Nick about the tender, which is fine. But in the meantime, give them the details of the ones where you've got long unread meters, and Nick can send them across to me and I'll have a wee look. Get in touch with Nick.
She says thanks for your offer. Please give a reminder of your contact details. So yeah, we've got your contact details in the slide.
I'll add a slide to the presentation that Jonathan and I put at the end of the last episode that's got our details on. Is that okay, Jonathan? So before I send the presentation across to you, Michelle, I'll add an additional slide with our contact details on.
Yeah, that's great. Brilliant. Thank you. We've got another one that's come through. It's 2 questions really. At first, it's for gas and electricity. Have you seen that, Nick?
I have, yes. So hi, Luke. How's billing done on gas and electricity is very similar to water. Again, it depends on the size of the meters and everything. Let's just take electricity. You'll have what we call non-half hourly and half hourly electricity meters. Half hourly, the supplier who you're with should be getting a reading every half hour. So there should be no reason why you're getting estimated bills on half-hourly electricity at all. If you are, it tends to mean that there's something wrong with the meter, or the uplink between the meter and the supplier's systems. Non-half-hourly is a little bit different. Non-half-hourly, again, depending on the size of the meter, depends on the frequency of your reading. Some will be read monthly, some will be read every 6 months. However, there is a scheme at the moment where a lot of meters are being pulled out and automatic meter reading is getting put in. It's a big drive from the government and everybody, ensuring that everybody is getting their data and driving down the amount of usage. So you will be getting it. Obviously, it sounds like you haven't had that done yet. Suppliers should be in contact, and it's very similar with gas as well. Bigger the meter, the more frequency you get. The very smaller, almost domestic size meters, you might only get a reading every 6 months. Depends who you're with, Luke. A lot of suppliers will always take readings over the phone. They'll put them on the portal. There's lots of other avenues. If you do take your own readings at site, you can always offer them, and they should be billing them to those. So that's an important bit there. Obviously, if you were using one of our suppliers on our framework, we keep a close eye on that. You can send the readings to us, and we can make sure the supplier gets them and bills them to that as well. So that's sort of gas and electricity. And I think it will be very similar on water as well, but I'll let Anne just, I think she's covered.
Yep, I was just putting the details on on multitasking. Right, so is this regarding the last bit about
just from Luke, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so it's in your gift, as I say, with the market being open, the customer gets to choose. So if you've got multiple schools, they would all have one individual account number each. But if you wanted them to be billed together, we would create a data account, and we would attach all of them to that, and we would bill on a consolidated bill under the data. But still, each of the individual schools would have their own account number too. But it really depends, and it's a piece of advice I give to all my customers. Don't rush into choosing a consolidated bill without speaking to your accounts payable departments. Those guys that are at the end of the journey where they actually make the payments, it might sound like a great idea to consolidate multiple schools together, and then they go, what are you doing? This doesn't work for our budgets. We can't do it like this. We need, and don't get me wrong, it's not the first time I've had to strip a bill out that's been consolidated. But every school will have its own account number. But if we consolidate them, you'll have a different account number called your data account number. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
Awesome.
Good. Similarly on gas and power, Luke, what we can do, if you've got a group of schools as well, we can do lots of different things. If you're not currently with us, there's a lot of things that we could do. We do a lot of work in terms of ensuring people have got coterminous end dates as well and things like that to putting everybody together. And similarly, I know the guys on water can do that as well. So yeah, we have the ability to, if you've got different end dates, we can drop more schools into a certain contract and bits and pieces for you. So we can, yeah, the account manager here at Duke will be able to work through that all the time as well. Yeah. Has anybody else got any questions at all? I think that's it.
Nope, I think that's.
No, I don't think so.
That's all the questions now.
No, I think that's it, right? Well, thank you very much for the guys from Water Plus. Hopefully that's helped everybody out and given a little bit of info into water and everything. There is a bit of savings there and bits and pieces that you can do. So if you have any questions, just get in contact with us and we can do that. But yeah, that's it. Great. Thank you very much for everybody for your time. And we will right. No, I think that's it. Right. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great day. And
thanks, everybody.